Revealed, the touching story of a boy who inspiringly surpassed his teacher in just 7 seconds. In a small suburban town, 12-year-old Sam flicked on the old desk lamp, its dim glow barely cutting through the gloom. The room was a collage of mismatched furniture, filled with remnants of borrowed dreams and whispered hopes. His mother, working tirelessly at her second job, often returned home late, her footsteps a weary melody echoing in the quiet space. But Sam didn't mind the solitude. It was during these late nights that he felt closest to his own ambition. An aspiring software engineer, he spent hours tapping away at his laptop, teaching himself coding from online tutorials. Filled with dreams of coding games and apps that could change the world at IT school, he often felt like a shadow. His teacher, Mrs. Hayes, was revered for her wisdom and experience, but she couldn't hide the biases she breathed in. In her eyes, he was just another kid from a low-income family whose potential was capped by circumstances. Her projects for him were dull, uninspired. But Sam held on to hope. He knew he could show Mrs. Hayes the spark that flickered inside him as the tech fair approached. The excitement bubbled within the town. Families buzzed with pride and jittery anticipation, yet Sam felt the pressure like a weight. He wanted to impress not just the audience, but most importantly, Mrs. Hayes. This was his moment. His heart raced as he envisioned standing in front of the judges, explaining his project, a mobile app designed to connect local services with families in need, which he developed in countless late-night study sessions. Moments before he stepped on stage, Mrs. Hayes' skeptical gaze swept over him, intertwining doubt with a hint of condescension. He gulped, adjusting his glasses, and drew a deep breath. The audience watched, holding their collective breath. He was ready. With fingers that trembled in both excitement and fear, he typed a line of code that seemed almost magical. As the colorful display lit up, he hit enter and, without a moment's hesitation, it executed flawlessly. The problem he deposed was solved in just 7 seconds. Gasps filled the room. Even Mrs. Hayes froze, replacing her earlier skepticism. Cheers erupted like fireworks. The crowd was alive with support, pride gleaming in their eyes. Sam stood tall, the weight of their expectations lifting. The moment flickered with a mix of triumph and doubt. Had his victory shattered the prejudices that had lurked within his teacher? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the cheers of the crowd began to subside, Sam's heart and mind raced. He could see Mrs. Hayes' face clouding with confusion. Recognition mingled with something darker. Was it guilt? Discomfort? Had he really awakened something within her? The tension felt palpable, lit beneath the layers of applause. The community buzzed with conversations that unfolded in whispers, raising questions about their assumptions. Did they view Sam as just another kid, or could they finally begin to see the brilliance buried beneath the surface? Sam's victory wasn't just his. It was a mirror held up to every parent, teacher, and child in that room. The electric atmosphere crackled with possibility. What would happen next? Would Mrs. Hayes find the courage to confront her own beliefs? Or would Sam's success only accentuate the divide that had lingered too long? In that moment, everything hung in a delicate balance, waiting for decisions to be made, for hearts to be changed. As Sam stood there, the weight of the moment hanging heavily in the air, he felt an unusual mix of pride and anxiety. The applause was still ringing in his ears, but it was Mrs. Hayes' reaction that held his focus. Instead of celebrating his success, she looked lost, almost as if he had pulled back the curtain on something she preferred to keep hidden. The cheers began to fade, replaced by snippets of conversations swirling around him. "Did you see that?" one person said, while another remarked, "I had no idea he could do something like that." Sam's heart swelled. Could it be that they were finally seeing him for more than just where he came from? But then, without warning, Mrs. Hayes' voice cut through the chatter. "Sam," she called, her tone steady yet laced with an uncertain tremor. "Can we speak for a moment?" He stepped down from the small stage, each step feeling like he was walking through a minefield. He braced himself, unsure if this conversation would shift her perception or reinforce her old views. The crowd began to disperse, friends and family gathering around their own young coders, leaving Sam and Mrs. Hayes in a quiet bubble. "Your project, it's impressive," she started, her voice almost soft. "But I have to be honest, I didn't think you were capable of this." The words stung. She hadn't meant them as an insult, he could tell, but they cut deep nonetheless. Instead of responding, Sam looked down at his shoes, trying to collect his thoughts. He felt smaller than he had just moments ago, standing before the crowd with his head held high. "Sam, I've always believed you had potential, but I let my biases cloud my judgment. It's easy for someone in my position to overlook the capabilities of students who come from less advantaged backgrounds." She paused, searching for the right words. "You showed me today that I need to do better." This was more than he had hoped for. He looked up and saw the sincerity in her eyes, the crack in the wall that had stood between them. It was a moment of pure vulnerability, and it made Sam's heart race with an unexpected rush of warmth. "Thank you, Mrs. Hayes," he said, finally mustering the courage to meet her gaze. "I just want to be given a chance to show what I can do." She nodded, a smile slowly spreading across her face, a smile that looked like it carried relief. "You've done more than that. You've opened my eyes. I want to help you, Sam. I want to support your ambition, to help you take it further." For the first time, he felt like the boy from the struggling neighborhood was seen as a beacon of promise rather than an afterthought. His dreams felt closer than ever, but just as intricate was the realization that change could be just as transformative for Mrs. Hayes. However, as he walked away, exhilaration began to mix with uncertainty. Was this a fleeting moment or the start of a new journey for both of them? Sam couldn't shake the lingering doubt that maybe some prejudices would take time to really fade away. As he looked back, Mrs. Hayes was already engaged in conversation with another teacher, her expression one of newfound determination. Little did she know, Sam was not the only one about to embark on an unforeseen path. What changes would this newfound awareness bring to the classroom? And how would Sam's journey evolve from here? As possibilities crisscrossed in his mind, he felt the seeds of hope rooting deep in his heart. But he also wondered, would he be able to keep proving himself, or would this moment of trust falter as the world outside the classroom continued to shout its limitations? The next chapter was waiting to unfold, and Sam's pulse quickened with anticipation. What awaited him just around the bend? Sam floated through the crowd, the warmth of Mrs. Hayes' words still wrapping around him like a cozy blanket. He grabbed his backpack and headed toward the exit, each step lighter than the last. But as he pushed through the doors, the crisp air hit him, jolting his excitement into a strange blend of exhilaration and fear. What if this moment changed everything? What did it mean for both of them? He couldn't shake the feeling that the feel-good atmosphere could dim at any moment, giving way to reality. His best friend, Jake, was waiting outside. "Dude, that was epic. You totally blew the judges away." Jake pounded him on the back, nearly knocking the wind out of him. "Thanks, man. It feels surreal," Sam admitted, still riding the wave of adrenaline. He scanned the parking lot, half expecting the world outside to echo his achievements. Yet, the familiar busyness of their neighborhood loomed in the distance, a stark reminder of where he came from. "Are you hoping to get into one of those computer science colleges?" Jake asked, eyes wide with excitement. "You have to. I mean, that's the dream, right?" Sam replied, but doubt crept in. Would they really see him, or just the shadows of his past? As they walked to the bus, Sam's thoughts drifted. The conversation with Mrs. Hayes had been a light in the dark, but was it enough to change the sentiments of others? He could already imagine the whispers from distant classmates. Would they look at him as someone special or just a product of a good project? On the bus, the chatter around him faded into a distant hum. He pulled out his phone and started typing. He wanted to capture this surge of hope. Maybe it could be a blog post or a collection of ideas, a way to remember that breakthrough. Yet, as he wrote, a familiar wave of insecurity hit. He wasn't just up against his classmates. He was battling the perceptions that came with his background. "Bro, you okay?" Jake's voice broke through. Sam looked up, hesitating for a moment. "Just thinking about everything," he confessed. "What if this changes things? For me and Mrs. Hayes? You got this, man. And she totally knows you're the real deal now. Just keep being yourself." Jake's words were like a soothing balm. Yet a part of Sam still questioned if that would be enough. The bus pulled up to their stop, and they stepped off into the familiar chaos of the neighborhood. Kids were laughing, adults were talking, and life seemed as bustling as ever. Sam took a breath, trying to soak in the moments that made up his life. Even without a clear path ahead, he could feel the shift inside him, a deeper determination to keep pushing forward. But would this fleeting sense of confidence hold? Would he disappoint the hopes that were beginning to rise? As he walked home, Sam spotted a worn-out flyer stuck to a telephone pole. Community Coding Workshop, all are welcome. It read. A spark ignited in him. This could be his chance to use his voice and skills to rally others, to change perceptions within his own community. But the question lingered, would anyone show up? Feeling a mix of dread and excitement, Sam decided right then that he'd take that leap. He would organize the workshop. In that moment, the possibilities felt endless. Yet another wave of uncertainty swept over him. What if he failed? Was he ready to take this on? Tomorrow would bring new challenges, and he knew the stakes would be higher. Sam felt his heartbeat quicken as he considered everything that was at play. What if he could inspire not just himself, but also others in his neighborhood to reach for their dreams? He closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of his aspirations pressing against him like the world was holding its breath in anticipation. This was just the beginning. The chapter of change was beckoning, and it was time to turn the page. Would he be able to rise to the occasion? And would his community be ready to rise with him? Tomorrow loomed large with promise. As the sun began to rise, its golden rays danced through Sam's window, casting a warmth that felt almost tangible. Today was the day. He leaped from bed, determination pushing him to shake off any remnants of doubt. Thoughts of the workshop filled his mind. It wasn't just a chance to share knowledge. It was an opportunity to bring his community together. After breakfast, Sam grabbed a piece of paper and began jotting down ideas. Snacks, exercises, and maybe even a fun coding game. He wanted the workshop to reflect the joy he felt when he created something. With every stroke of the pen, his enthusiasm surged. He could picture kids his age, maybe even younger, gathered around computers, eyes alight with discovery. Jake stopped by just as Sam was slipping on his sneakers. Ready to create a tech revolution? He teased, bumping shoulders with Sam. Something like that, Sam chuckled. They made their way to the community center, the nervous energy blending into the morning buzz of the neighborhood around them. As they walked, Sam replayed the flyer in his mind like a mantra. Community Coding Workshop, all are welcome. When they arrived, Sam was surprised to see that the room was already buzzing with locals setting up tables and chairs. He blinked, feeling a rush of gratitude. The community was stepping up, ready to help him make this happen. Let us put this all together, Jake exclaimed, tossing his backpack to the side. Sam laughed, feeling his heart race. With all hands on deck, they arranged the space, unearthed dusty computers, and synergized energy in the air. It felt like they were building something bigger than just a workshop. They were building hope. As the minutes passed, more people started trickling in. Sam didn't just see kids. He saw parents, older siblings, even some elders looking curious. Each one a hopeful spark. Every face reflected a mix of eager anticipation and a dash of skepticism. Sam took a deep breath, fighting a wave of nerves that washed over him. Could he really inspire these people? The clock's ticking was deafening. The event was set to start, and he knew he had to say something impactful. He cleared his throat, stepping to the front of the room. Jake gave him an encouraging thumbs up. Hey everyone, I'm Sam, and thank you all for coming. He began, his voice wavering slightly but gaining strength with each word. Today, we're not just going to code. We're going to build something together. I believe we can learn a lot from each other, no matter where we come from. He paused, scanning the crowd. He saw heads nodding, smiles beginning to surface. The familiar weight of uncertainty lessened, replaced by a flicker of confidence. Let us have fun creating, and maybe find out some cool things about ourselves along the way. Sam concluded, hoping to ring his enthusiasm in the air like a bell. Applause erupted, followed by laughter. Sam could hardly believe it. This was real, and they were with him. He turned to Jake, grinning like a Cheshire cat. Just then, a hand shot up from the crowd. What if we made a game where we code our own mini-adventures? A girl around his age suggested, excitement evident in her voice. Sam's heart raced again. Ideas poured like rain. They worked together through the session, laughter intertwining with learning as they explored the world of coding. This was more than a workshop. It was a community coming alive. But as the last hour approached, a shadow of doubt began creeping back. Would this energy last? Would the connections they made today carry beyond these walls? As the workshop wound down, Sam stood back and took in the scene. Kids were finishing their projects. Parents and children were discussing ideas. A sense of belonging enveloped him. Sam felt a tiny nudge of hope growing stronger. Just then, Mrs. Hayes walked in, her eyes shining with pride as she surveyed the room. Sam's heart fluttered. Had she heard about the workshop? They locked eyes, and Sam felt like he was standing on the threshold of something monumental. Would this moment be a turning point for him, and could Mrs. Hayes' recognition mean more than he had dared to hope? The next chapter awaited, shimmering with promise and uncertainty. What would it reveal? Sam's heart raced as Mrs. Hayes approached him, her gaze warm and encouraging. The crowd slowly melted away, their laughter fading into gentle murmurs as they celebrated their achievements. It was just Sam and Mrs. Hayes now, two individuals caught in a moment suspended in time. Sam, she began, her voice carrying the weight of admiration. I heard about your workshop from a few of the parents. I wanted to see it for myself. The pride in her tone made Sam's chest swell with emotions he hadn't been prepared for. Really? I didn't think you'd come, he stammered. How could I not? She replied, a smile spreading across her face. You've created something special here. You've brought people together. In that instant, Sam felt more than just validated. He felt seen. It wasn't just about the coding anymore. It was about the community he had rallied, the connections forged, and the inspiration ignited in every heart present. He allowed himself this moment to shine, a small glimmer of recognition lighting a spark within him. Thank you, he managed, the words tumbling out with feeling. I really wanted everyone to feel included. I think coding can open up doors for us like a key to unlock creativity. Mrs. Hayes nodded, her expression shifting to one of thoughtfulness. You know, the way you organized today's workshop was impressive. I can see you took this very seriously. There's a unique potential in you, Sam. The weight of her words hung in the air, mingling with the letters of gratitude scribbled on the workshop feedback sheets. Each note reflected pride and joy, and they felt like badges of honor he could wear. Just as they were about to continue their conversation, a burst of laughter erupted from the other side of the room. A group of kids cheered, bouncing around with triumphant smiles on their faces as they displayed their completed projects. It grounded Sam back to reality, reminding him of why he gathered everyone. Let us take a look at what they created, Mrs. Hayes suggested, leading the way. Sam felt the anticipation pulse through him as they made their way to the cluster of excited kids, where each screen lit up with animated characters and vibrant graphics. Oh wow, Sam, check this out, one boy exclaimed, hovering over a colorful, interactive game. You helped me code this. Can we add more levels? Absolutely. Let us brainstorm some ideas, Sam replied, the resolve in his voice surprising even himself. Excitement washed over the room again, and Sam realized this connection was contagious. It spread deeper than he hoped and reached into each corner of the community center. It wasn't just a workshop, but a shared journey that was only beginning. But somewhere in the middle of all the chatter and cheer, a gnawing thought lingered in Sam's mind. Was this fleeting? Would the energy and connections dissolve like vapor once everyone parted ways? Hey, Sam, Jake called out, breaking him from his reverie. We should do this weekly. What do you think? Yeah, more workshops, chimed in the girl who had suggested the mini-adventure game. Sam's heart swelled again as others echoed the sentiment. Yet he felt a flicker of anxiety. Weekly workshops? Could he really handle that? What if expectations grew too high? What if he couldn't deliver? Let us plan a brainstorming session for next week, he exclaimed, trying to sound confident. As the applause and suggestions continued to flow, Sam felt the room pulse with excitement. Yet clouds of doubt coiled in his mind, even amidst the sunlight. The moment felt pivotal, almost electric, but he feared the weight of that energy. What if the enthusiasm didn't last? What if he was chasing an illusion, one that would slip from his grasp when he needed it most? Outside, the sun sank lower in the sky, casting long shadows that crawled closer with every second. Sam caught Mrs. Hayes' eye once more, a question lingering in his mind. Would she guide him through this self-imposed uncertainty, or was he meant to find his own way? The next chapter of their shared story was about to unfold, and Sam felt both excited and terrified. Which path would he choose? The chatter around them intensified, voices blending into a joyful chaos that wrapped around Sam like a warm blanket. But beneath his smile, uncertainty lurked. As he watched kids excitedly discuss their projects, the fear crept back in. Could he really lead this movement? Every quest for creativity felt like a high-stakes game, and he was unsure if he had the right cards to play. Sam. Jake's voice rang out again, a little too loud, drawing even more attention. When we do our next workshop, can you help me add a high-score feature? I want everyone to go for the record. Yeah, I want to create a game where we rescue puppies. Another girl chimed in, her eyes shining with ambition. Those sound like awesome ideas. Sam responded, though inside he felt the weight of their expectations already pressing heavily against him. He blinked and forced his grin wider, embracing their excitement as the kids brainstormed. He caught a glimpse of Mrs. Hayes. She stood a little distance away, observing the scene with an approving smile. Her presence gave him a surge of hope, yet he couldn't shake off that inner voice taunting him. What if Mrs. Hayes was wrong? What if he really didn't have what it took to keep this project alive? All right, everyone, one idea at a time. Sam called out, raising his hands to quiet the enthusiastic crowd. Let us focus. Who wants to start? With that, the kids took turns sharing their ideas, their imaginations lighting up the room. Sam encouraged each one, his heart swelling again with pride as he witnessed their unfiltered creativity. It reminded him of his own struggles to express himself, the quiet battle hidden beneath the surface. Yet, just as he began to feel more secure, a sinking thought crept back in. Could teaching them truly help him? To give so much to others required strength. Would his own fears hold him captive when the lights turned off and the kids returned home? Sam? A timid voice interrupted his thoughts. It was Mia, a girl he recognized from earlier. Her face was serious, brows knitted together with determination. What if nobody comes back for the next workshop? What if you end up alone? A hush fell over the group. Sam glanced around, finding many young faces mirroring Mia's concern. Yeah, Jake added quietly, what if it's just over? His heart sank as he realized how profound their fears were. Wasn't that exactly what had been haunting him all along? What if this spark faded? Listen, we can't predict the future, Sam found himself saying, his voice steadier than he felt. But look at all of us right now. We're here together, and that counts for something. Whether this is once, twice, or many times, what matters is we tried. We found joy today, and that doesn't just disappear. He saw their little faces straighten, hope flickering back in their eyes. Perhaps his words had planted just the right seeds. Okay, Sam said with renewed energy. Let us collaborate and make this next workshop even better. We all have ideas that matter, and I'm here to support you just like you supported me today. The murmurs of agreement surged through the group, revitalizing the atmosphere. Sam felt the weight briefly lift off his shoulders, a sense of belonging flowing back in like a tide. But even with their support, shadows of doubt still slipped through the cracks. Could he sustain this energy? That evening, when he would pack up and head home, would it all come crashing down? Hey, Sam. Mia piped up again, her voice piercing through his thoughts. Are we going to have snacks next time? Because those always make things awesome. It made him laugh, but he felt a twinge of reality. Food wouldn't be enough if he faltered. Absolutely. We'll have snacks. He promised, something firm inside him wishing he could believe it. As the kids jumped back into discussion, the screech of a chair dragged Sam's attention away. Mrs. Hayes approached again, closer this time. She put a reassuring hand on his shoulder, her eyes locking onto his. Sam, don't underestimate your ability to inspire. You're doing great things, she said softly, her presence grounding. Thanks, Mrs. Hayes, he replied, knowing he needed to harness that encouragement. But as the laughter erupted around them, a new, urgent question emerged in his mind. What if inspiration wasn't enough? The shadows from earlier crept back in as he gazed at Mrs. Hayes, searching for the deeper answers lurking beneath the surface. Was it too late for an odyssey of transformation, or just the beginning? With every decision ahead, Sam felt the intensity rising, and he knew he had to confront more than just his doubts. The next step was unclear, but uncertainty had turned into determination. What if, By facing these fears, he could redefine not just his own path, but the journey of every kid in that room. And how would they come together when the next workshop arrived? The workshop buzzed with excitement as the kids dove into their brainstorming. Sam's heart raced alongside their energy, a rhythm pulsing in sync with their laughter and chatter. But in the midst of their creativity, a nagging anxiety still clung to him. What if this was just a fleeting moment? He squeezed his eyes shut for a second, as if trying to crush the thoughts crowding his head. When he opened them, he was surprised to see Mia staring up at him, her uncertainty palpable. "Sam, can we really do this?" she asked, her small voice cutting through the noise. The hesitance in her eyes echoed his own. "Yeah," Sam replied too quickly, the enthusiasm intended to soothe his own fears. "Of course we can. Look at how much fun we're having right now." But the truth was that as excited as the kids were, he still didn't know how to ensure their continued engagement. His mind raced forward to the next workshop like an anxious clock ticking down. "Maybe we should make a chart of all our ideas," Jake suggested suddenly, waving his hands dramatically. "That way we can see everything we're working on." "Great idea. That way we can keep track and remind everyone to come." Sam nodded, grasping onto Jake's suggestion like a lifeline. "Let us do it. I'll bring supplies for the next meeting. Charts, markers, the whole setup. It'll be epic. Snacks too," Mia exclaimed, her face lighting up. "Definitely snacks," Sam laughed, the sound lifting some of the weight off his shoulders. He caught the tentative smiles on the kids' faces, and it felt like a warmth igniting within. As they planned, he discovered a deeper bond forming with the kids. They were all part of this new adventure, not just individual contributors, but threads weaving their own unique patterns into a collective tapestry. The worry that had nagged at him ebbed slightly. But that evening, as Sam walked home, shadows crept back into his mind. The vibrant energy of the workshop dimmed behind him. What if that was it? The kids came together today, but would they find their way back tomorrow? The thought gripped him, an icy hand wrapping around his heart. He sat at the edge of his bed, staring at the posters pinned to the walls, reminders of dreams and ambitions. What if they didn't come? He ran his fingers through his hair, the anxiety curling tight in his chest. Taking a deep breath, he pulled out his phone. Maybe he could send a message to the parents, urge them to encourage their kids to come back. The thought empowered him briefly, but he hesitated, heart pounding. Did he really want to overstep? He wasn't just the facilitator. He wanted to be a part of their journey. "Hey, you okay?" His mom called from the kitchen, breaking into his thoughts. "Yeah, just thinking," Sam replied, forcing a casual tone. "About the workshop?" Yes, she appeared in his doorway, leaning on the frame. "You're worried about something, aren't you?" Her gaze was penetrating, and he felt like he'd let her down somehow. "I just want to make sure they come back," he finally admitted. His mom smiled knowingly. "Well, the fact that you care so much means you'll do something about it. Just be yourself. The kids love you for it." That small reassurance gave him strength. As he drifted to sleep, faint echoes of laughter and chatter swirled through his dreams. The questions about uncertainty lingered, but he was determined to take action. When morning broke, his resolve was clear. He'd not only prepare for the next workshop, but also do something special to make the kids feel valued and important. Suddenly, a spark of bold creativity ignited within him. What if there was a way to engage them even more? As he pieced together his ideas, excitement coursed through him. What if they created a project that connected them all, something that didn't just showcase individual talents, but blended their strengths? Sam's heart felt larger in his chest, alive with potential. He grabbed a paper and started scribbling down concepts, sketching dreamlike images where every child contributed uniquely to a greater whole. But just as he finished the outline, a chilling thought struck him. Was this enough? Could it hold their interest long-term? The uncertainty threatened to pin him down again, but he pushed back against it. Determined to face his fears, he called out to himself, "This is only the beginning. I won't let doubt win." His heart raced as he contemplated the journey ahead. What would the kids think of his new idea? He felt the tug of adventure pull him forward. Tomorrow loomed, carrying the promise of new opportunities and challenges. Would they all rise to meet it together? Would this new spark he had ignited be enough to keep their movement alive? As he closed his notebook, narrowing in on those thoughts, he prepared to face whatever awaited him in the morning light. The sun rose gently, casting a warm glow across Sam's room. He could feel the energy bubbling inside him, igniting his spirits as he moved through his morning routine. Breakfast was a blur of cereal and hurried thoughts about the workshop. Today wouldn't just be another meeting. It would be a launchpad into something extraordinary. Arriving at the community center felt different. The air was laced with excitement as he set up the tables and lined up colored markers. With each item he arranged, he envisioned the spark of creativity igniting between the kids. As the first group of kids arrived, Sam's heart raced. Mia bounced in, her braided pigtails swinging as she joined him. "Are we going to make something amazing today?" she asked, her eyes wide with anticipation. "Absolutely," Sam exclaimed, grinning widely. "We're creating something that connects all of us. It's going to be a big surprise, and I can't wait for you to see it." The other kids filtered in, and soon they were all buzzing with ideas. Sam had made a large canvas, and together they would create a mural representing their collective journey. Each child would contribute their own unique touch: paint, drawings, and even their own words of encouragement. "Let us brainstorm our themes," Sam encouraged, smiling as their chatter filled the air. Ideas flew like confetti. They tossed around thoughts of friendship, dreams, and even things that scared them. Each suggestion ignited a new wave of enthusiasm. It felt like magic, but as they began to paint, doubts stealthily crept back into Sam's head. Would they truly commit to this project? He glanced at Mia, who was deep in conversation with Jake, her face alight with determination. They were invested. They believed. "Remember, it's about collaboration," Sam reminded them, though he was reassuring himself as much as the kids. "Support each other. Every stroke will add to our masterpiece." Following his words, the kids exchanged supplies, colors flying as they laughed and shared ideas. Then, as if the universe had aligned, Jake raised his hand, his voice breaking through the joyful noise. "What if we add our names, but each name gets decorated in a way that represents who we are?" Sam's heart swelled at the idea, reflecting it back to the kids. "That's brilliant," he said, clapping his hands together. "Your names will be the heartbeat of this mural." As they started personalizing their names, Sam felt the energy around him shift. Each child was pouring their passion onto the canvas. The mix of colors and styles began to morph into a beautiful chaos that was uniquely theirs. He could see the bonds forming, friendships blossoming between laughter and paint-splattered hands. Yet, even in the euphoric moment, a voice in his head whispered a question. What if they didn't finish in time? Would it mean the end of their unity? But as he looked at their concentrated faces, that hesitation evaporated. "Can you feel it?" Sam said, gesturing to the mural. "This is not just about art. It's about us creating something together that will last longer than today." Snaps of paintbrushes and joyful shouts filled the air, and Sam knew they were on the right path. But there was still an uncertainty nagging at him. Would this unity hold when the workshop ended? Would they carry this experience into their lives beyond these walls? When the last stroke was painted and everyone stepped back, the mural stood proudly before them, bursting with personality and vibrancy. Cheers erupted, echoing the exhilaration of triumph. Sam clapped along, feeling tears prick at his eyes. This was more than just a painting. It was the essence of who they all were now. "Let us take a picture," Mia exclaimed, pulling out her phone, excitement shimmering. They gathered together in front of the mural, grinning from ear to ear. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" she said, just as Sam began to respond. His phone buzzed with a message, breaking his reverie. It was from a parent interested in the workshop. They wanted to discuss ideas for involving more kids next time. As the group laughed and celebrated, he realized something profound was happening. The mural, though completed today, was merely the starting point of something larger. Yet amidst the cheer and joy, as he looked at the beaming faces of the kids, an unsettling thought crossed his mind. Would this workshop truly pave the way for more connections and creativity, or would it just fade away like the paint on the wall? The question lingered as they posed for the photo, and Sam felt a flicker of fear and hope collide within him. Could he turn this moment into something that would last far beyond the next workshop? As the camera clicked, so did the promise of an adventure still waiting to unfold. Mia's phone flashed with the photo, capturing the moment, a snapshot of their joy, their triumph, and the spirit of camaraderie that filled the room. As the kids reviewed the image, their laughter echoed brightly, drowning out any lingering doubts that still fluttered in Sam's heart. Yet, as the excitement buzzed around them, his mind raced with possibilities. Just as the initial thrill began to settle, the kids gathered their things, ready to head out. It was clear they formed a connection, but would that spark carry on? "Hey everyone," Sam called, raising his hands to get their attention. "Before you go, I want to make this a tradition. We'll meet once a month to keep creating together." Mural after mural, a mix of cheers and chatter filled the air. They loved the idea, and that warmth washed over Sam like a comforting blanket. But inside, he wrestled with the fear that enthusiasm might fade once they left these walls. Would everyone really return? He thought of all the kids that needed the kind of community they had built today. Noticing Mia lingering behind, Sam crouched down to her level. "Mia, what do you think? Will they want to come back?" His voice softened, hoping her innocent enthusiasm might quell his worries. "Of course. This was epic, Sam," she responded with unwavering belief. "We should do more than murals. What about music or dancing? We could have even more fun." Sam laughed. Her infectious spirit indeed brightened the uncertainty in his heart. "I like that idea. Let's brainstorm together, okay?" With that, Mia nodded energetically before running to catch up with her friends. At that moment, under the warm glow of the sun filtering through the community center windows, Sam felt a determination ignite within him. His hands could help paint murals, but perhaps they could guide growth, too. That evening, Sam sat at his kitchen table surrounded by sketches, planning future workshops. He imagined bringing in local artists, musicians, and even storytellers. Art could be more than paint. It could weave narratives and create bonds throughout the community. He pinned down notes, giving life to every idea that flowed through his mind, each one an invitation for children to express themselves not just with color, but in every form they could imagine. As his pen danced across the paper, the phone buzzed again. It was another parent, curious about how they could support the upcoming workshops. Sam's heart skipped at the thought of expanding what they had created. Excitement swelled through him again as he typed a quick response, setting up a meeting to discuss collaboration ideas. His vision was tangible now, a place where kids wouldn't just come to paint, but where they could dive into experiences that would stretch their creativity and foster lasting friendships. Weeks flew by in a blur of planning and preparation. The workshop became a hub of activity, drawing kids in from every corner of the neighborhood. Soon couches were filled with laughter as kids shared stories, worked on projects, and created art that spoke to their experiences. But as the energy swelled, so did the pressure. One day, Sam noticed a group huddled in the corner, whispering. The atmosphere felt charged, as if it held an unspoken secret. Mia approached him, her smile dimmed. "What's wrong?" he asked gently, kneeling to her eye level. "They think we should just stick to painting. They don't want to try new things," she hesitated, the weight of the moment pressing down on them. Sam felt a knot tighten in his stomach. Would this vision he nurtured come crashing down because of a setback? Or could he harness this moment, turning doubt into strength? "Let me talk to them," he said, determination lighting up his expression. "We'll figure this out together." He remembered the mural, how it blossomed into life through collaboration. They had built this community together, and he refused to let it falter now. As Sam approached the group, every heartbeat felt heavy with anticipation and possibility. Could he guide them past this hurdle and into a brighter collaboration, or would it unravel and send his dreams into disarray? Sometimes when we face doubt, it's a chance for growth. "Let us talk about what you want and how we can make this even better together." Would his words resonate, bridging the divide? Or was the challenge greater than camaraderie could support? What awaited them on the other side of this moment? Sam took a deep breath, finding strength in the bright faces surrounding him. "Hey everyone," he began, his voice steadier than he felt, as he focused on the group. "I know some of you want to stick with painting, and that's great. But I believe we can explore so many different kinds of creativity together. Every idea matters." The room fell silent for a moment, eyes glancing toward one another. Sam could sense their uncertainty, their hesitation lingering like the last rays of sunlight filtering through the window. "What if we tried new activities while still doing our murals?" he continued, trying to meet their gazes. "We could host music days, or maybe a talent show where everyone gets to showcase what they love." Murmurs erupted among the kids, some nodding while others shared curious glances. Sam felt a flicker of hope. We could all contribute, he urged, and infuse our murals with fresh energy. Imagine if every workshop reflected what we enjoy. It could be like a patchwork of all our talents. Finally, one of the quieter kids spoke up. But what if it all messes up? What if the projects don't turn out like we hoped? Sam paused, trying to read the room. He moved closer, lowering his voice a bit. That is totally okay. Sometimes the best art comes from unexpected places. And remember, we're in this together. Each of us has something unique to offer. Every mistake or misstep can lead to something beautiful. For a moment, he saw understanding spreading across their faces, little sparks of realization lighting up with glimmers of affirmation. Mia cleared her throat. Let us give it a shot. If it doesn't work, we can just go back to what we know. But if we try, we might discover something amazing. Her enthusiasm was contagious, and she beamed at her friends, igniting their excitement like a match to kindling. A wave of conversations swept through the group. Ideas bounced around like playground balls, laughter returned, and the tension began to melt away. Sam felt the heaviness of doubt lift, leaving space for a newfound determination. Okay, let us plan out our next session, he suggested. I want each of you to think about one thing you'd like to explore. We can brainstorm together. Everyone's ideas are welcome. After all, we're a team. After the meeting, Sam felt lighter as he left the community center, the evening sun casting long shadows toward his neighborhood. A fresh breeze stirred the air, filling him with hope that he had turned a pivotal corner. His steps quickened, and excitement bubbled in his chest. Would everyone come back? If they did, would they feel the same spark of connection they had fostered together? The following week, kids flooded back into the center. The joy hung thick in the air. As Sam watched them collaborate on a new mural combined with music stations, he smiled, pride swelling inside him. They painted their hopes and dreams, but also the faces of doubt they had pushed aside together. That evening, as they shared snacks, laughing with paint-stained hands, Sam felt the warmth of community wash over him. Each child seemed like a brushstroke on a canvas, and he realized just how profound this journey had become. Sam! A voice rang out, cutting through the chatter. It was Mrs. Hayes. She stood just outside the center, watching with a brightness in her eyes that mirrored the event's glow. I just wanted to say how impressed I am with everything you've created here. Thank you, Mrs. Hayes, he replied, his heart fluttering. It's the kids. They keep bringing their dreams. As she walked closer, Sam felt a surge of affirmation. You're doing something incredible, she said. You're not just teaching coding anymore. You're shaping futures. With those words, Sam knew they had created not just a workshop, but a movement of transformation, emboldening one another to reach higher. He felt a call to continue building the path, guiding kids like Mia and the others toward opportunities they hadn't dared to dream about before. And now, as they stood there, colors blending and voices rising, Sam realized this wasn't just a milestone. It was a beginning, a collective story pulsing with life, hope, and determination. They would keep creating together, turning uncertainty into strength, exploring the tapestry of creativity that stretched out before them. With washed eyes shining bright, hearts surely lifted, this moment marked more than just art upon a wall. It forged a lasting bond rooted deep in trust and belief. The next chapter was theirs to write, a journey thriving as a community, undeterred by anything ahead. Now was the moment for change. Now was the moment for remembrance. And it was only just the beginning. That if you enjoyed watching Sam's inspiring story unfold, you need to subscribe now to our channel and become part of this incredible journey. This is the moment to show your support. So hit that like button now to feed the algorithm. Also, don't forget to comment below your thoughts and feelings about how Sam transformed not just himself, but his community too. What did this story mean to you? And let us spread this inspirational message. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Be part of something amazing.